Greetings, everyone. Damon Caskey here to answer application post 9. Evidently, while I'm sporting a nifty halo there. Let's start off by reading the application post prompt primary question verbatim. If you had a choice, would you choose to train people face-to-face or online, and why? Let me start by saying that online does have a lot of advantages. To start with, it's obviously a far more efficient medium to deliver your course payload to a wider audience. And, at least in the case of asynchronous courses, gives your end users a little bit of leeway to kind of take things at their own pace. But that said, if the face-to-face option is available, I'm taking it every single time. Now, there are a lot of reasons why, but for reasons of time constraints, we're going to try and stick with one, and that is the ability to deliver a consistent end user experience, something that you simply cannot do online. And we're going to take a look at three facets of this. The first is digital divide. The second, somatic communication. And then finally, we'll look at handling end user special needs. With digital divide, well, the obvious one would be devices. I, for instance, am recording this, well, kind of on a crappy camera, but I'm looking at it with a 16:9 high-resolution Alienware laptop. Statistically speaking, you will be viewing it on a mobile device, which means what you see is very different than what I'm looking at right now. Not a big deal in an argumentative post like this, but a massive problem if we were, say, talking about teaching you how to create pixel precision sprite graphics. Not only would the screen size be an issue, but RGB production comes into play. I don't have any way of knowing that you're seeing the correct colors. That's before we start getting into device issues of bandwidth and simple horsepower. I mean, your device may not have the ability to handle the course content as I created it. And even if it does, you may not have the bandwidth for it. That seems like a silly problem, but for instance, a county just one removed from Fayette, the University of Kentucky has already researched and found that over 50% of its population is not connected at all, and only 20% have any sort of broadband. This was a massive problem during the COVID-19 pandemic when we were trying to get classes online. Turns out there simply wasn't the means to deliver them because students did not have the means to receive them. Then we have the issues of somatic communication. When I first started, you may have noticed that I was looking off screen at three other monitors, and what you couldn't see is I was pointing at the text and just kind of tracing it with my fingers as I spoke. Not a big deal here, but again, there are times when somatic communication is very important. If nothing else, because it can aid the hearing impaired. And for someone like me, it's a primary means of communication. What you can't see is I'm flipping my hands all over the place down here, and it's just very uncomfortable for me delivering a course to have to keep gestures in an even smaller box than your standard issue speaking box. Then we can move on to special needs. Now, just a moment ago, I mentioned hearing impaired. Well, no matter how hard that I try to accommodate all special needs, there's simply no way for me to fully do so with an online course. I mean, it sounds great, but in a practical world, it's kind of a pipe dream. There's going to be special needs that we cannot handle through a screen. But these are things that we might be able to take care of if we were in person. For instance, maybe you have a hard time hearing me. If nothing else, because of the fish tank that's in the background, might not be your hearing. You might have a difficult time understanding the words that I'm using. There might be some linguistic barriers, and all you would have to do in a face-to-face situation is raise your hand, grab my attention. I come over and give you a direct lesson. I can use some tactile responses if I need to, show you exactly what's going on, and basically just handle your needs on an ad hoc basis. Again, something that you cannot do online. Online does have its place, but given an option, once again, the face-to-face, I believe, if it's available, is the only way to go. Thanks a lot for listening, guys, and we'll see you next time.